Okay, let it play, boy.
What's it like to feel responsible? Can you please respond, bitch? I've been on my own, I've been keeping it 1,000. I ain't going home without a story. Can you watch me if I did?
All right, guys. Thanks for listening to this episode of Our Story, the podcast that's about all of us. Each week we have a testimonial, and it's much more than that. It's we hang out, we chill, we talk about whatever the heck comes to our minds. A lot of interesting conversations, a lot of stuff you might not hear in your day-to-day conversation. Definitely worth listening to. Today, we're going to be talking to a guy from Rochester, New York. So a little bit away from where I am. Young guy, but even though he's young, looking at things through different people's eyes, perspectives can really help to understand what other people are going through and what they're experiencing, even at different ages, different areas. There's a lot that people go through that we can't understand because we're not them. So before we judge others, before we judge people, I want to get to their side of the story, to see what they are going through. And that's the point of this podcast. It's funny and it's loose, but it will leave you feeling inspired. And this is a good one. This guy ends up making music. He's talented, smart. And if you guys like the show, make sure to give us a like on Facebook /OurStory360, and you can go to our website, which is, what is my website? It's http://ourstory.buzzsprout.com. And you can see our archive of episodes and our links to social media, and you can find out how to donate through Facebook if you like what you hear. Help keep us going. Sign up for a subscription or a one-time donation, or you can just like us on Facebook, share us, like us on YouTube. All that stuff will help. Thanks, guys, and I hope you enjoy the motherfucking show.
Girl, you always been a bomb, bitch. Go ahead and take it, girl. You always get it right. When I gave my heart to you, cut through me like a knife. Now I'm on my own shit till the end of the night. Shawty, she be focused, she be eyeing down the pipe. When she give it up, I'll make sure I hit it right. But I can't love her, only fucking.
What are you watching? Looks like some fat lady. Oh my gosh, she's got like two little arms. She got those shriveled arms, but she's got two of them. Wow.
Dude, this is just the best part right here.
I love.
You, I believe
It's like she's like slapping a butt with her little hands.
yeah.
Who is it? Somebody was like, I can't remember what I was watching, but somebody was like, I had a fetish for that because you would look huge next to those little arms. She was like,
Oh, what?
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, jeez.
You gotta be
So-
really insecure to have that be your fetish, though. Like, you gotta be really
No, or maybe you just have to be very secure, No, I guess that would be weird.
Nah, I don't know. I mean, yeah, or you just have, like, a huge dick, and you're like, yeah, I just want it to look absolutely fucking massive, and this girl's like...
Yeah. Oh, man.
Yeah.
So we recorded for like 8 minutes and then realized I was the only one we could hear. So I'm going to explain
So,
briefly,
Yeah.
the theme of this show again.
Okay.
Basically, it's to show that all of us have like we all have something special to bring to the table. We're all different, and we've had a lot of influences from society, and the way we view things is differently. And it's mostly just to help understand how everyone views things differently, kind of, just to help us, like, I have no idea. James, you peed. My son just told me he peed. Good job. Just go put it back out there. Yeah.
Good job, buddy.
Yes. That's good. I didn't even have to tell him. He just did that. So, I'm a good dad. But yeah, so I have no idea how, like, to know how you view the world. You have no idea how I view it. It's just kind of to, like, bring us together, show how like, society is,
Yeah, no, and
pressured us.
I think the only real way that, like, for me personally on my day-to-day, the only way that I know what type of person a person is by their view. Like, so I was talking to a guy who I work with earlier today, and he was telling me about, about the presidency. So he was talking about Obama, and he was telling me about which this is something that I'm not 100% sure on the topic of because I haven't personally experienced it. So this guy says that under Obama's like Obamacare bill, you remember that?
Yeah. Obamacare. The Affordable Care Act.
Yeah, right. He was, in the words of my coworker, he was proposing that that everyone needs health care. If you don't have health care, you're going to have to pay a fine because you can't afford your health care. You don't have health care. You're going to have some sort of fine.
It's like
And,
it's like old news, man. You didn't hear about that? The fine?
yeah, no, I knew about it, but it wasn't like it's like I don't think that that's exactly how it went. I thought that it was more of like.
Well, they're getting rid of it. I heard that this was the last year for the fines, and then next year there's no more penalties.
Oh,
That's what
really?
I heard. Yeah, that's what I heard. And I know a lot of people weren't gonna because the penalties increased like every year. So like the first year it'd be like $50, next year it'd be $100 or whatever. But even still, it was less than the premiums would have cost. So, which I get it, Affordable Care Act, like it makes sense because the only way to make sure that everyone's insured is to make everyone pay for it because not everyone uses it. If if only the old people or the sick people had insurance, then the insurance companies wouldn't have enough money to pay for their stuff because people don't pay a lot of money for health insurance. Yeah, they pay like $200 a month, but like still that's not enough to go around. They need more people to pay into it so that because they pool this money and then they just give out a little bit as they need it.
Yeah, but think about how oppressive that is, dude.
Yeah.
You need to give $200 out of your monthly paycheck.
Right.
For health insurance. $200, honestly, to me, I mean, on my wage, you know what I mean? That's ridiculous.
Yeah, I pay like I don't know, $230 a month.
I have no idea how you even keep up with that because honestly, like, well, I guess I do know how you keep up with it. You just don't spend your money stupidly, and you.
Well, it gets taken right out of my paycheck. It's through my work, so they just
Oh, okay.
they take out like I don't know. It's like, well, no, I don't. I don't pay that much. Oh no, I pay like 36 or 60, 90. I pay like 100, 30, 60, like 130 bucks. Honestly, yeah, 130 bucks. It's like $32 out of every paycheck. And I get paid every week. So, I mean, and then I have dental, and and I have never used my health insurance, so.
Oh, you have dental? That's including dental?
Yeah, dental's only like $3. It's really weird how cheap it is. $3 a week. It's like $2.75 a week.
Is that because it's dental only for trauma, not cosmetic?
What do you mean?
Insurance? So
What's the difference?
If you wanted to get a new tooth implanted, could you go ahead and do that, or would you have to pay, shit ton of money?
Oh yeah, not cosmetic. So no, they wouldn't. They probably wouldn't cover that stuff like new tooth or something.
But if you,
Well, they pay like root canal. Like they pay 80% of everything.
yeah.
So like yesterday, okay. So I actually did go to the dentist yesterday. I had a tooth pulled. The first time I went, they told me that I needed a root canal. It was gonna be $500, and I was like, oh, I can't afford that. So I waited, and then I went back, and they told me it was going to be $1,000 because I waited longer, and I needed to get something else put on, like a crown and some other stuff. And then I went back, and because I was up all night in pain, and my face was swollen up just last week, like the whole side of my face was swollen, and they were like, oh, well, now it's too late to do a root canal. We have to extract it. Oh, they pulled it out yesterday. It is the weirdest freaking thing, hearing your tooth getting ripped out of your face. But it was $14.
Really?
Yeah. Instead of $1,000. So I don't know. I don't need that tooth anyways. It's in the back. Nobody sees it.
No, me and Lars are actually we have the same tooth missing.
The same one? How did you have it missing?
So
Keep talking for 30 seconds.
So when I was, let's see, this was 2016. So when I was 19 years old, I was going around with my buddy. He had just gotten 2016 Camaro SS, like all supercharged, souped up, crazy car, crazy fast,
Right.
extremely powerful. I actually ended up going 186 miles an hour in that car.
What? You went 186 miles an hour? I couldn't even imagine going that fast.
Yeah, that's the fastest
Jesus.
I've ever gone in my entire life. So
186.
but that was just an entire hell ride. Riding in that car was insane, right? So we're doing burnouts, we're doing donuts, we're just going crazy because it's his prom night. So we end up, getting back along with the people who originally gave us the car. The lady was a stripper, and my buddy's dad works at the strip club, so he had some connections. And strippers are, most of the time very unintelligent.
Oh, yeah.
So-
Last girl I got with was a stripper.
Yeah. So
She has no personality. She doesn't like anything
yeah.
except money.
Is
Hey,
that
just
the girl that you had the kid with?
No. No, it's just a stripper.
Hello?
I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I hear. Is
No,
that-
I didn't have a kid with her. She was just a...
Ashland, right?
No. Ashlyn was... Man, you making me sound like a man whore. Ashlyn was the girl right after the girl I had a baby with. Right.
Okay, so
Jackie, I had Jackie, whatever, and then Ashlyn.
Jackie, what? I don't think I've ever seen your baby's mom.
I'm not naming names on this show either. I'm not even gonna tell them who you are until the very end.
Oh yeah.
So don't spoil that.
That's true. Yeah, it's true. I wasn't even thinking about that.
Yeah, it's discreet. Well, I don't even know. I don't even have to tell him your name, but I can tell him who you are to me. Right. Anyways, so you're talking about Camaro driving and a stripper.
Right. I don't even know what got me off track.
Yeah, I don't know where you got, I don't remember how you got from whatever to stripper driving a Camaro.
I don't know. Anyways, so we end up, going to this place where it's like a pretty big joint for everybody to go hang out in my town. It's called Henrietta Hots. It's like, have you heard of a garbage plate? When you came to Rochester, I think you heard of it.
A garbage plate?
Garbage plate. So what it is they have half of a plate of hash browns, half of a plate of macaroni salad, and then on top of that, you have 2 cheeseburgers, and all over it you have meat sauce, which is just like, meat, oil, and spice, basically. And you have ketchup and mustard, and there's onions in it too, if you like it like that. But
if you're into that kind of thing,
honestly,
you're
the
some fucking weirdo.
consistency is one of the craziest things ever. Anyways, that was just a little rundown.
That's facts about onions. It's all about the consistency.
Wait, what'd you say?
With onions, it's all about the consistency.
How so?
Like,
What do you mean by that?
like I can only eat cooked onions, and they have to be like cooked consistently through.
I see what you mean by consistency.
Like,
absolutely, no.
Can't have like a part of the onions that's raw and the other part's cooked. Like, come on, man, cook the whole damn thing.
So we end up at this spot, right? And I'm chilling with the stripper. She's kind of like coming on to me, so I start feeling like a little weird. I start feeling like a little flustered, and I mean, I'm only 19 years old at this point.
Oh yeah, that's pretty big for a 19-year-old.
Yeah. So I was like, I think I just got to go outside to catch some air. Before this, I don't really know how to describe the feeling. Maybe just like as if you had just stood up too fast, but I was feeling that while I was sitting down. So I, for some reason, thought that the best plan of action would be to go outside and get some fresh air, because I was also sweating from it. And I take my first step outside, and then the next thing that I remember is waking up in a pool of blood. And looking down and being like, oh, shit. I just fainted, and there's no tooth in my mouth right now.
Oh my god, I thought you were gonna say you killed somebody.
No.
I was a werewolf.
I haven't killed anybody, but I'm getting kind of close.
Okay, don't say that. We would definitely aren't saying your name now.
No, I mean, I don't know, man. People they're crazy every single day.
Oh yeah, I mean, you can have the thought, but you just can't act on it,
No, never.
But there's nothing wrong with thinking about it. Every person has. Everyone has thought. Everyone, I bet you this. Everyone has considered what they would do with a dead body and how they would get rid of it.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Haven't you?
Just because.
Just a good thought experiment. How could you get away with it? You know.
It's a thought. It's just like a thought experiment. Exactly.
Yeah, maybe that's just white dudes. Maybe because it seemed to be the top dogs at killing people.
Nah, for sure. It's definitely everybody.
Yeah, it's definitely everybody.
Definitely
Probably
everybody.
every single person.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No matter the
Maybe
race,
those monks. Those monks
single
probably
person.
don't think about that.
Yeah, because
You know about those people that like some people
they don't
like.
really.
Oh my God!
Focus on death at all.
There's like
It's
compounds like all over the world with like people like like just random religions, like all sorts of different religions, where they cut themselves off from everything for like 50 years.
Yeah.
Some of them do it when they're like 20. They're like, 20, I'm done. Like,
Yeah, right. 20, I'm done. I'm dedicating my life to.
I've got it. Like, I've had that feeling, but I'm glad I didn't do it because things are pretty cool. Like, you can't play video games and shit like that. Just be praying,
Yeah, man.
doing the same thing all the time. I couldn't just pray.
No. My form of that would be going out into literal wasteland wilderness and just surviving out there, because
That's true.
To me, religion is, it's I don't know, it's very hard to believe that all religious stories are completely accurate, and you know what I mean. I don't.
Yeah.
I follow. Like, I'm agnostic. I believe that there's a higher power, but I do not like the idea of following a man-made religion where.
Well,
there's so many
tell me one
flaws.
thing that man has done that like they haven't really been
Screwed up a little bit.
Yeah. There's always been some sort of corruption,
Something exactly. That's what I'm getting at. So definitely, I believe in
Oh
higher
dang,
power.
dude! I'm looking outside, and this bird just got this worm out of the ground. And this sucker's like 3 or 4 inches long. Like, how did he see just like a worm in my yard? Like, you don't just see worms in the yard, do you? But this bird just jumped down there and found him.
They're crazy, man. They really are. They're dumb.
So he must have saw just like a wiggling and been like, "Oh,
Yeah, right.
I see that little bit of wiggling. That's a worm." He just killed the hell out of him.
That's crazy.
Anyways, what were we talking about?
I don't even know what we were talking about.
Did you see this shit about Kim Jong-un?
No, I didn't. I don't actually know what you're talking about.
Oh, well, I mean, there's a summit in Vladivostok, Russia, I'm assuming. And Putin and Kim Jong-un met this morning at 12:41. That's interesting.
Jong-un, North Korea.
Kim Jong-un.
Unwilling to denuclearize if given security guarantees, Putin says.
Wait. So Putin wants Kim Jong-un to
Putin wants to get rid of his nuke.
Putin wants Kim Jong-un to get rid of his nukes.
Yeah. And Kim Jong-un is saying, no, because regardless, okay, hang on, let me,
Because I know that Trump had talked to, when they had their meeting, I was really nervous about that, but they had come to some sort of agreement that he was going to denuclearize. And then
honestly,
he went back on it. And then I think, Kim Jong-un went back on it or something.
Yes, yeah, that's he's saying Putin said after all the talks that Kim Jong-un was open to denuclearization. Above all, he focuses on protecting natural interests and security. So I'm saying that he probably doesn't want his.
He doesn't want to be exposed.
His last resort to be taken away from him.
Well,
so
maybe he would denuclearize to a point,
To a point, that's okay.
Right. Maybe still have the capability, but maybe not have 1 billion tons of, uranium laying around or something,
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I could see that.
But I do understand. It's kind of the same concept as a civilian owning a concealed carry weapon.
Oh man, that's a whole bag of worms right there.
Yeah.
But yeah, everyone has the right to be to feel protected or safe,
I don't even think that there should be so many regulations on it. Honestly.
On what?
I think that if everyone was able to protect themselves equally, that there would never be as much crime as we have right now.
All right, well, let's save that bag of worms for another day. I don't want
Yeah.
my first, one of the first recordings to be a fuck gun debate, because people get pretty upset about that one. But
Yeah.
Kim Jong-un, and he's like, it's kind of scary the way that Trump just says shit, you know? He just
Yeah,
says whatever he
it's
wants.
scary. It's definitely scary, and you know what it is? It's thought provoking, and it's enticing an entire theme of racial tension between all Americans, and that is exactly his goal. If you you know think about how politics and have worked in the past, divide and conquer is literally the strongest way to infiltrate and impose your will on a otherwise unwilling to operate that way society.
Yeah, well, you know what I've kind of realized lately is, you've always heard like history repeats itself, but as you get it's like I got older, I kind of realized how true that really is. Like, it's like with everything. Like, there's gonna be another war. We know that there's gonna be another war coming up. I don't know what, but there's gonna be something else, because like it's always gonna be somebody is gonna want to, like, there was Genghis Khan, then there was Napoleon, then there was Hitler. There's all these people throughout history. It's always one right after another. So it's gonna happen again. Whether that's Putin, which I really don't know if he has the capability to do that, but there's gonna be another person that's gonna rise up and try to.
If Trump is not the person to do that, he is the person to incite the person who will do that.
I could see that.
Think like that.
The more like with Trump, I didn't vote for Trump, but I don't think people should be as like unsupportive of him as they are, like, because he's still our president, and we should want our president to do good. People that like want him to screw up so that they can throw him out of the White House. It's like, why would you want that to happen? Wouldn't you want him to do a good job? I mean, he's there for 4 years. You want to just waste 4 years,
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
People just, obviously, the big thing about Trump is the racism. That's why
there's a lot of big things. Like, he's a liar for one. He's a huge liar and thinks he is this. Yeah, and he's racist. He is. Yeah, I mean, the way he stopped Muslims from coming into the country, and like it was dumb because he wanted to stop. He put a ban on all these countries, and all the countries that he put on the ban, none of those countries have done any mass shootings in America. So it's like, why don't you like research a little bit before you just start like doing shit like that? Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah, so Kim Jong-un again says he wants to keep his motherfucking nuke program. That is just great. They greet him with bread and salt in Russia. Bread and salt. That's all they have in Russia to greet you with. They don't have anything.
Huh. Bread and salt.
Yeah, I see like a picture of Kim Jong-un and his lady with a big like platter of salt and like bread rolls, kind of. Wait, what is it? Let me scroll.
Salted bread, or it's just a big pile of.
Oh, it looks like a cake with like, but it's bread. and then it has like a pile of salt on top. It's actually really cool looking. It's like design. It's got like braids in it and stuff, but it says it's a weird dish, bread with like a bowl of salt on the top. It's a classic Russian dish.
Okay, so it's
I mean, he kind of looks like, what do you want me to do with this?
yeah.
Look at his face. Oh, that's funny shit.
I see what you're talking about now.
Oh, did you look it up? Oh, yeah, I see. Oh, yeah, that is like a thing.
Yeah, it's weird, very weird.
Yeah, yeah. He just pulled up a picture. It looked like, like you look at like pies at the diner, except this one just has salted bread with a bowl of salt in the middle.
I don't know why it's not spread out. Why? Like, what are you supposed to do? Do you take a piece of this and
Hold on.
dip it?
You okay? You okay? Okie doke. Oh man. Yeah, there's like this one dish I heard of in where is it? It's like I think it's Mexico or it's either Mexico or like Greenland or Sweden or somewhere in Northern Europe. I don't know why. I'm thinking either Northern Europe or Mexico. But there's like this one dish. It's like for your birthday. They'll take buttered bread and put sprinkles on it, and then just fold it up and eat it. That's like the happy birthday.
Huh.
Like the poor man's cake. Buttered bread with
Very
sprinkles.
Poor man's cake.
Buttered bread with sprinkles. Look that up.
Poor man's cake.
I just made up the poor man's cake part. I don't know if that's what they call it. That's what I call it.
Okay, it's called fairy bread in this, which literally just looks like bread and sprinkles.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not even toasted bread either. Like if it was toast,
Yeah.
I'd be like, okay, that's not too bad, but it's not.
Right, it would give it a little bit more.
I just love toast, man. Toast is good.
Toast is very good. So this is, I guess this is a different bread.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
for you,
so,
like a birthday celebration. That's how they celebrate. Where is it? Where's the country of origin?
I'm not sure, but I'm pretty. It says Australia.
Australia? Well, then I
Pretty
was
sure that I would be
very wrong.
upset. I would be a little bit upset if I got that.
If you were like, I want the Ninja Turtles ice cream cake, and then they gave you a piece of bread with sprinkles on it.
I mean, or even just a regular, any other cake than that. Like any cake that you can buy from the store.
Yeah, even like,
Let's keep it simple.
like a Nutter Bar would be better.
It's a fucking piece of bread.
Oh man. So let's see. What was I gonna ask you?
Yeah.
So, let me
so how's
can I
it
ask you
going for you?
a couple personal
Go ahead,
questions?
yeah.
Like what are your parents? You have mom and dad. And you have some brothers and sisters, right?
Yeah, what are they?
No, I'm just saying you had all those things.
Okay.
Yeah. How was that like? How did that you think influence like your life as in like the way you grew up with your family?
Wow. So the way that I grew up with my family was
It's
it was
weird.
a little weird.
Yeah.
I have 3 brothers and I have 2 sisters. One is born by the same mom as me. my three brothers and my sister, they have a different mom but the same dad. Um, and you know, growing up, we saw each other a lot, but then it turned into like, I don't know. We didn't end up seeing each other all the time, and
So mainly your main kind of like, you had these brothers, but mostly it was just like you, your sister, your mom and dad.
yeah, right, at home. So
Yeah, the
uh,
consistent part of it.
like
So, I mean, like, is that weird? Like, you'd be like going to school and like other people didn't have like. I remember thinking like, my parents were divorced, and when I was in first grade, like, I always thought like everyone's parents were divorced.
okay.
That's what I
So
thought.
you want
Like,
me to touch down on that
yeah, just
piece?
like kind of like how like like you thought things were normal, and then as you got older, like you kind of got to see things in a different angle.
So my parents, when I was growing up, they never were not like bickering. Sometimes, you know what I mean. There was always one point where they would be at a disagreement, not per se arguing, but be at a disagreement, and there would be tension in the house. Um, but other than that, everything was pretty cool in the house. I thought everything that was normal. You know what I mean? Yeah, my parents fight, but they still love each other at the end of the day.
Right, people
But
just argue.
people
Yeah.
are yeah, exactly. People have disagreements. But then uh, it was kind of a really rude awakening for me to have my dad uh, and my mom split up. It was honestly one of the craziest things that I ever experienced, and a big part or a big reason why that was so influential on me is because when my parents split up, my dad just disappeared for 3 years. There was a 3 year period between me finding out that my parents were going to split up one day. The next week, my dad was gone, and I didn't get to see him again until I came back to a. Well, I was actually at a football game, and he
Like
came to
your
the football
football
game,
game,
and
like you were
I
playing.
saw him before, and it just
You were playing in the
it
football
was
game.
yeah, I was playing. I was really young for town league, but yeah, that was a really crazy period of my life. And during that period of my life, I was extremely angry. I resented my father 100%. I put no blame on my mom. I didn't I thought that it was all just my dad, being a,
Well, so your
selfish
dad was
asshole
gone during this 3 years. You blamed it on him, obviously, because you never got to
because
hear his
I
side of the story.
right,
Not saying that it wasn't 100% his fault, but you didn't get to hear his side of the story, so it's
I
kind of
had no idea what his side of the story was. All I
right.
heard was what my mom told me and what happened. So I'll share a story with you guys about what actually happened. The reason that my parents actually split up. Uh, they one day, my dad, after months and months of depression, uh, started hanging out with these, hippie guys, trippers, whatever. And the one day that everything went down, my dad decided to give my mom a little tab of acid in her medication. His reasoning for that was he felt that it would bring them closer, and that they could have some sort of different type of experience together.
Like a
But
mind opening, like
right,
some people think that when you take, whether it be DMT, shrooms, or acid, it'll expand your mind, your thinking.
yeah,
And that is true, but,
exactly.
it doesn't really work so well when the other person doesn't know what they're about to
Doesn't
experience.
yeah, exactly.
So he drugged her with acid.
yeah, so so that was the day that everything happened. I remember it. I woke up, everything was cool. I was just playing Modern Warfare 2, classic day for my teenage years, and then I heard my mom crying. It was the weirdest cry. It wasn't a cry like, "Oh, you did something." It was a cry like, "I think I'm going to die. I'm dying right now." And like I immediately jumped up and was, at attention. What you looking for? Bong? Not in here. You sure? 100%. I did see it recently though. Oh, I'm retarded. Sorry.
You just lie right to his face.
Yeah. I do. I do have a lighter.
Oh man. I'm gonna perform. I got a comedy show tonight.
Oh, right there, under that scarf. You got a comedy show tonight?
Yeah, in about 2 hours.
Word up, word up. That's dope. So, yeah. Anyways, yeah, I went in there, and my dad was just, he was just doing his own shit. At the time, he was actually redoing our kitchen floor, so he was just redoing the kitchen floor, and he had music going, and I thought everything was cool. You know what I mean? My mom freaking out, especially because of what you mentioned, how someone who doesn't know what they're going to experience starts experiencing something insane. And I understand completely what that would have been like. So immediately she calls her older brother. Her older brother comes over. It's my uncle Jake. He is somebody who is completely inexperienced with drugs. He is as straight edge as it gets. He is completely religious, and doesn't know much about that stuff. So he saw the state that my mom was in. She was not able to get herself in control. So he decided that he was going to take the initiative, and he was going to bring me, my sister, and my mom, and he was going to bring my mom to the hospital. We were going to go to his house and chill out while all this was happening. My mom comes back, and they take the test results of her blood, and they find out that she was given LSD. And my mom decided that she was going to press charges on my dad. So,
what's the charge for something like that?
I'm not exactly sure what the charges were or how that entailed, if she ever eventually dropped them, if that was...
You know what I heard?
Go ahead.
I heard it was categorized as attempted murder. That drugging someone is attempted murder.
I believe so. So I believe that the charges must have been dropped then.
Yeah.
Must have been because
that's a messed up situation right there. Because that's was, that had to be the breaking point. Like, you can't trust someone who's like, because he thought of it. They were in two totally different mindsets if you think about it. Mm-hmm. Like, she was looking at one thing one way, and like in his mind, like, yeah, he was doing the right thing. But like, to someone on the outside, it's, you got to put yourself in his shoes, like, but it's insane to do that. Well, but he was in a bad state of mind.
You also have to understand that my dad is not crazy. He's not just someone who went and did that out of nowhere. My mom put him through years and years and years of hell. Years and years of hell. And it's extremely painful to realize all the shit that actually happened. And coming out of, once I actually got my dad back into my life and I was able to hear some of his side of the story, I realized how actually fucked up that my entire situation was. just being brought up. The entire thing. And to keep it short, my mom went through numerous affairs. She was a traveling business lady, so she was always open to being able to have access to a room where her husband would not know where she was. Somebody, you know, a business associate, anything like that. And it really pains me to say it, but that's what drove my dad to be insane. He was so insane that he would sit on his computer every night, just smoke cigars and drink entire bottles of vodka every night. Entire bottle. Not you know, not for nothing. That could kill somebody. But he was doing that to numb the pain that he felt every single day, every single waking second. And I think a lot of people can relate to that type of pain, but that's just an example of what that type of pain will do on that level.
Yeah, I
you know
mean,
what I
and this
mean?
is a
And,
this is
you know,
a
people,
man. You know, he's 40 years old. You know, he's been through a lot. You know, so he knows. You know, he's got
I'm sorry,
he's got 40 years of experience. You know, in life. So
yeah.
it's not
I'm
like
sorry,
it's not like a
you cut
teenager
out.
who's depressed. You know, and they think it's the end of the world. This is like you know.
This is serious. This
Yeah,
is
this is like your wife. You have kids, a home, and
something that you've built,
you
a
can't
connection
trust
that was
that person.
right. Exactly. This is extremely, like, this is like, just watching everything that you've built crumble and get shit on. That's it. That's basically what it is. And just feeling helpless. And I've been there, not nowhere near to that extent, but I have been there. I do know what it's like. And that's a big part of addiction. People don't understand that addiction starts with something. It doesn't just start with, oh, I want to be an addict. Oh, I love the way that this feels. I don't think that I can just, I just think that I should turn my life into this. No, addiction starts out with some sort of pain, some sort of thing that needs to be filled. It's a void in all of us that we can all feel, you know what I mean? But for some people, that void is the pain that they feel is different. It hurts them more every day than it hurts the average person. And so that could drive you into a very, very dark path. But it's not just because of the sole fact that, oh, I want to be an addict. There's real reasons behind addiction. Real psychological reasons. And that's why it's a psychological disorder. Disease, actually, once it gets there. But it starts out as a psychological disorder. But once it becomes, to the point where you literally need it, it is a disease. But yeah. So
I know that like they say that sorry to interrupt, but the reason, like, people are say, that's not a disease, that people like say, it's not a disease, but like if you look at the characteristics of a disease, like, I'm not a doctor, but I if you look at because I went through an outpatient rehab program, and they had doctors explain to us that the way that a disease works and functions is the same way that addiction works and functions. There's no
I'm sorry. I didn't hear the part that you said before that. Did you say that you went through
Yeah, I was in an outpatient rehab program when I was a
Okay.
teenager.
So
When I
you're
was like
saying that you
19.
went through some sort of addiction.
Me? Yeah, I had an addiction problem. Did I not, you not know
What was your addiction?
that? Well, I wouldn't say it was any one thing, really, but it was that I couldn't be sober. That was the addiction. The addiction to being anything. So like, yeah, I wasn't
A
like,
lot of people live their lives like that, though.
yeah. So like, I would go on like a binge of methadone, and then I would go on a binge of Xanax, and then I would go on a binge of whatever. So it would be like when I had it, and I was only a teenager, so you can't like get a steady stream of heroin or whatever drug you want. You're a teenager; it's hard to get stuff. So I would just do whatever. But
Especially where you grew up.
yeah, that's the hard thing about small towns is it's just like I wish I had gotten into like better, because grew up in such a small town. There wasn't like, if I would have like put my energy into like doing something else, but I didn't have any passion. There was no one really there to like, mentor me.
Well, I honestly feel like that all the time.
Yeah, it's hard because like
want...
I don't know. I feel like I'm gonna be a lot more like my dad was like wasn't around very much. I only saw him every once in a while. But then my stepdad, that was around all the time, he had so many responsibilities, and then like being a stepdad, you kind of have to feel like you have to distance yourself just a little bit. So my hobbies with my dad were working. That was our hobbies.
Right.
And so yeah, and so now I'm trying to do it better. I'm trying to like get into like, oh son, let's take up karate classes together. Hey, why don't you come on, come do this with me? Let's go do this together. Let's go places, just for the fun of it.
Yeah, no, that's actually 100%. I felt the exact same way once everything was said and done. My dad was gone. I actually resented him so much so that I started selling a ton of drugs, tons and tons of drugs, that I would steal it from anywhere that I could. But besides the point, the reasoning for me selling those drugs and stealing those drugs was because I wanted to be better financially than my father was. And I wanted to be better than my dad. Which is that was a big driver for me when I was growing up. That was what drove me. I didn't want to be like my dad. I wanted to be him times 10. You know what I mean? I wanted, like, my dad's an extremely intelligent person. He's slowing down now because he's about 58, but
he is a smart man. Very smart man.
He never put his intelligence to use. He always, he did, but not in the way that he had the potential to. And he still has potential, but, once you get that old,
sometimes I feel like religion holds you back from your true potential.
It does too.
Because they tell you can't do this, you can't do that, you can't say this, you can't think that, and so like you hold yourself back so much for something, and then you're like, at the end of the day, do you really know? Like, right. What if it was all fake? What if it was nothing, and this was your only shot, and you spent the whole time wasting it? That's the part that gets me. But like, I get it though. I get it, like, because I feel bad for my mother, because my mom is very religious, and if she, like, for her, if I die, I'm going to hell, then she's going to be in heaven forever, and she doesn't want that. So I feel bad. I get it though. It feels good to feel like there's something for the afterlife, Maybe there is.
It does feel good. I don't think that See, I'm agnostic. I don't believe in religion. I do believe in a God, and I do believe in some sort of, I don't know, some sort of afterlife, something like that. I know that, yes, it's extremely comforting, and logically speaking, most likely there's no afterlife, and that's you know pretty unrealistic, but just the experiences that I've had, uh, I think kind of justify my belief in agnosticism. Um, have you ever had like an experience with like ghosts and well, whatever we call ghosts and shit like
You've
that?
had ghost experiences?
Yeah.
All right. Hey, why don't you tell that ghost story while I go pour my son some yogurt?
Okay. All right. So, well, you got to get into the setting of what was going on at the time. So me and my boys, we were all, we would all hang out at this guy's house. My buddy Jarek, he has a barn that was built in 1911, or at least that's when they marked it with the number 1911. Um, and we, it was really creepy, but we never thought of it as creepy. You know what I mean? We kind of like, there was a big hay pit out in the barn, and we used to go chill out there, and we'd spend a ton of time out there, spend a ton of summer days out there just hanging out, and that was awesome, you know? So I never really suspected anything. But then my first experience must have been when we were, well, I think it was probably uh, on my friend Jarek's birthday party. So he turned, I don't even know, must have been like 15, 16, around there. He turned whatever, and we had a party out in the barn. So you can see the barn from his house. And while we were inside, we were just looking outside at the barn, and all of a sudden the lights start flickering on and off, on and off, on and off, on and off. And we go out there because we're like, what the fuck? Who is out there? Who's out there at this time of night? And there's nobody. There's not even a sound. The on and off stops. The lights flickering stop, and it's like completely silent. And that was just really weird. That wasn't, there was nothing like actually extremely significant at that point that popped out and said, yes, I'm a fucking ghost. But albeit that was my first weird experience.
That's crazy, man.
So after that, I kind of had an idea that there was something else going on around there. And my second real like significant experience was also in that house. And it was while I was sleeping over, we were all huddled up. We watched this movie. Have you ever seen Team America?
Yeah, that's the guys with from South Park, yeah, right?
Yeah, it's like with the dolls and shit,
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah, it's a funny one.
Yeah, it's funny. I was watching that, and as I'm watching, I realize like I'm the only one awake, and I hear like a little girl start singing, like da, 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 da. Just very soft, consistently, not changing her melody. It's just the same thing over and over and over again.
Not. So
I'm
you were
sitting,
like,
and I'm like,
you in the
what
living
the
room?
fuck? I'm downstairs in the living room, and this is coming from upstairs near the attic. It's a huge old house. The layout is a little bit hard to
And so
explain.
you started walking up there, and you still heard the singing?
No, so I was laying down in the living room,
dude,
which is
there's a
so
groundhog.
you walk in. There's a big,
Dude,
large
there's a groundhog
room with
in my
a large set
backyard.
of stairs. To your right, there is a medium-sized room, and then right past that, there's a double door, like that come in, and there's a medium-sized room there as well. Come back into the first medium-sized room, and you take a right, and there's a small room right there that has a fish tank in it, and it connects the kitchen and the dining room, and with to the the living room and the rest of the house. And there is past that the kitchen, and past that there's just a random large size room, but there's nothing in it. It's filled with just seasonings and junk and shit like that. So this was coming from the upstairs, and I was in the second medium sized room, so I was far away from the stairs at this point, and I was hearing it from above the stairs towards where my friend's dad's room was. And it literally just chilled me to the bone. Just that. It was really weird.
So that's
I've
all it was
never
just the
experienced
singing?
it. Yeah, and so this happened, and that continued for about, it must have been over an hour. Must have been over an hour and a half.
An hour of... That's weird.
Very soft. Very, very soft. Very subtle. Just loud enough so that I could hear it.
Are you sure it wasn't like some kind of toy that was stuck on?
I never got the balls to go check. So
What? Come on, man. You wouldn't check? Dude, you know how excited I would be if I found a ghost? Because no one's
I
ever,
get excited
seen a ghost for real.
So I,
Maybe they have, I don't know.
I know that you can't be touched.
Well, yeah, you never hear people getting jacked by ghosts. It doesn't happen. So what are the chances that...
You're describing it, I don't think that you've actually had, a real experience, have you?
No. Nope.
Okay.
Nothing.
So
I played with a Ouija board, and it's worked. And I can't describe...
What?
I can't... Yeah. Yeah. Most of the time I ever use when it works. And
Please
I don't move
explain.
it. It's weird because, you get, you need, at least... you're supposed to only have... you can have 2 people. But I think it's more fun with, 3 or 4 people.
I did not know that you fuck with that.
Yeah, I have one in my house.
That
Yeah.
stuff is serious.
No, it's not, man. It's you know who made mine? Hasbro. The same people that makes Monopoly made my Ouija board.
No, I understand.
I bought it off Amazon.
But
It's made of cardboard. It's not serious.
right, it comes in a game box. I know.
Okay, and the instructions say do not play in a cemetery. And guess the first place I played it. It said don't play when you're under the influence of alcohol, and I think I've always been under the influence of alcohol.
So,
But yeah, and it's always worked, so it's weird because I can't explain it because I know that I'm not moving it. Because it'll answer questions it's stupid because it doesn't really tell you what you want to know. It's not I'm a demon and my name is Jonathan. It doesn't tell you that, and it's I was buried over here. It tells you doesn't tell you cool stuff. It's I died. When did you die? It's 10 years ago. It's what's your name? Susan. You're oh, that's a real description. Susan that died 10 years ago. It could be anybody.
thank you for the climax. Yeah.
Yeah,
I hear you, man. But
yeah, but it'll answer questions
I'm gonna
how
give you-
old am I? It'll answer I'll say how old am I, and it'll tell me. And
really,
yeah, accurately.
that's cool.
Yeah, and like
well, not cool.
sometimes
but
like
that's
the one time like
something.
my friend, he would close his eyes and then it would still work. And then I would be like, what would I say to it? I don't know. I don't believe it. I don't know. I don't believe it works. I think it's just because I used it just a little bit ago and it doesn't work. You have to really believe it. That's the thing. So I think maybe unconsciously you're moving it. I think that's really what's going on. It's like unconsciously, like you ask it a question. Okay, how old am I? You know you're 22 years old, right? Or whatever. Or you're 35 years old. Your brain kind of maybe automatically kind of pushes it, nudges it that way
Yeah.
without you knowing it, because it's really hard to keep that thing perfectly still because it's like so slidey. That's the thing.
Yeah, but
It's
I don't know.
bull crap, dude. Spiritualism is it's always been proven wrong. Like like Houdini.
I mean,
Houdini started out doing spiritualism, and then he went into
and then he
like
was able
doing
to
magic,
stick
and then
so
he
it
started
to himself.
disproving spiritualism.
How did he disprove it?
Like he would go in, and then he'd be like, "All right, I want you to tell my fortune." And they'd be like, he would send like he would so he would how he would original like he would how he would disprove them is he would go in and they'd be like, "Oh, your name is this and this and this and that," and then he'd be like, "Ha, I'm Houdini, bitch. Like I don't know any of those people," and he'd be like, "You're a fucking
Yeah.
imposter."
Okay, well that's fucking yeah. That there's definitely fake people out there.
They're all fake. There's like this one challenge out there. It's like if you can prove that you have some kind of magic ability, it's like called the something challenge. And like the reward is like over like a couple $1,000,000. If you can prove
I don't
in
believe that any single person. Well,
yeah, well no
well,
one's ever done it. No one's ever done it. You have to go in there and prove it under his controlled situation.
okay.
So like
What
that's
is
the
that?
whole
What is that
thing with
called? That's really cool.
yeah, I don't know. I can't remember.
Magic challenge. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, I just know that like no one's ever done it. Cuz like that's the thing with like any magic trick, like the secret is knowing like ahead of time. Like you're always one step ahead. Like you know the person before they get there. You know what card they're going to pull. You're making them do whatever you want. Is basically how magic works.
Okay, I found it. So this is it. Uh, do the research for the challenge and start to roll forward on the doing it. Do the magic every day for a period of greater than 30 days. No excuses, no breaks. Well, that no breaks part is a little bit retarded. Being able to replicate it every single day is, I guess, cool.
Well, that's weird. You have to do it 30 days in a row? What if
Yeah.
it's like one of those things that's like only when the stars align, and it's like, sorry, they don't align for 30 days in a row, bro.
Yeah, right.
Like, well, fuck you. You don't get jack. Yeah.
Yeah. So I wanted to, I wanted to just like give you the real reason why. There's actually two reasons. Um, so when I went over to that kid Jarek's house one night, I was
Wait,
like,
what are we talking about now? Real reason why what?
This is another ghost story. This is the real
Oh,
reason
okay.
why I believe in ghosts and demons and shit like that. So
And
I
things
went
like
back to this kid Jarek's house, and I was just chilling. But I just was like, you know what? I'm gonna fuck with these things tonight. And I said out loud, I was like, I don't believe in you. You're just a piece of shit. Like, just dissing the entity, whatever, being like, fuck you, you're fake.
dude, even I wouldn't do that.
You see what I'm saying? I really pissed it off.
Yeah.
And that was 100% purpose. So what happened next is the reason why I fucking believe in this shit. I went upstairs to go to sleep. Hours passed after I said, "Oh, fuck you," whatever. Nothing happened during that time. The only time that something happened was once everybody else fell asleep and I was the only one awake. So what I started hearing was, upstairs there's 5 doors, all in a little like horseshoe. If you can imagine that. There's rooms stemming off of each door, whatever. And there's a slight hallway to his dad's room, and as soon as you come up the stairs, there's the door to the attic right there. And you turn right, and there's one door, and then, there's the horseshoe of doors, whatever. I was in one room to the right of the stairs, and as I was sleeping, I heard... I don't know if you could hear that. I heard footsteps start just walking, and I was like, okay, that must be his dad. It's like 5 a.m. He's probably getting up to go get some coffee or something. I just kept hearing it, and it didn't stop. After 10 seconds, you're kind of like, what the fuck? Why is it still going? What the fuck? Like, it's pretty quick that you realize that this isn't like something normal, you know what I mean? And as soon as that started to happen, I started hearing more footsteps, like there was more people, like coming from a different direction. But the weird part about the original footsteps is that they would walk up to my door and then reset. I would hear it back all the way back over there, and then it would walk back up to the door. Reset, walk back up to the door. And then shit just started going absolutely insane. Everything, like, that was like the highest point of energy in the house. So the door to the attic started opening and closing. Opening and closing. So this was the entire fucking ensemble. Bang! Bang! You know what I mean? Like, the footsteps going back and forth, and then while that's going on, just like this.
Yeah.
A door just opening and closing, shutting that fast. And right behind my head, there was a shelf. On that shelf, there was an empty aluminum can from a soda that I drank. The aluminum can moved literally just a millimeter. Not even a millimeter. Just moved enough so that I could hear the scratching of it moving on the shelf. You know what I mean? Like, so that I could hear it.
Oh, there could be vibrations.
And everything stopped immediately.
Okay.
As soon as I heard the can, everything stopped. And I'm just left in silence. And I'm just left like, holy fuck. I'm sleeping right next to a kid, and I wake him up. I'm like, Kyrell, holy fuck, bro, listen. Nothing. It was all gone, all done, and just, it probably lasted 2 minutes, honestly. But, maybe even shorter than that, I don't know. Because while it's going on, it feels like it's going forever, you know what I mean? Like, I was one of the most scared, that was one of the most scary moments of my life. It was just like surreal. And yeah, so that happened, and I took it as the spirit being like, no, I'm fucking real, you respect me, you know what I mean, type of thing. You are going to respect me, or you are going to get fucked.
Right.
And ever since then, I've been very respectful, and I've never had any problems.
That's where you live now?
No. That's the kid's house who I used to sleep at.
Wow. Okay.
Jarek. That was from the ghost story before.
Okay.
Like, it's at the same spot, same house. And then So that was my personal experience with just like what I would say a classic haunting. Uh, Jarek says that he's heard screaming, just blood curdling screams in the night in the basement, and walks down there. There's nobody. Uh, there's weird shit. Just weird stuff happens. But those are my um the real the other reason that solidified my belief in the supernatural is the fact that of who I was with and what happened. So I was in my bedroom smoking dabs, drinking Red's Apple Ale with my buddy Aaron, and this kid is an engineer. He's one of my smartest friends. You know what I mean? Like very intelligent, very logical. Not someone who has ever believed in ghosts. Uh, you know. And we were watching. What we were watching was, they use. It's called a spirit box, which there's a lot of fake shit out there. There's a lot of shit, but like there is a device that what it does is it'll cycle through FM transmission, just consistently going through all the radio stations, and the theory is that whatever this entity is can latch on to certain energies, and that's why, like, I don't know, that's all paranormal theory shit. But during us watching this spirit box, the spirit box says that it's the devil, and like it starts just talking about crazy shit, and me and Aaron are starting to get actually scared. Like we've been watching like these types of videos for 2 hours now. This like that was our whole night. We loved it. You know what I mean? It was fake to us. It was intriguing. Like I still believed in it because I know about all that shit. But to Aaron, he was just watching it because I was interested in it, and it was kind of interesting to him. In my room, I have a large exercise ball, just an inflatable exercise ball. Me and Aaron were both sitting, and like as the shit is going on the TV, we both watch the exercise ball start to roll and then roll back and hit my wall and just bounce off a couple times. And we both just look at each other. Aaron literally is blank, white, completely white. You could see this, like how scared he was just in his face. And that I truly believe was something paranormal telling us to get the fuck off of what we were doing. And like I tried to replicate it. I left my exercise ball there. Some other weird shit happened after that. Like I would be in my room and I would hear the switch to the light in the bathroom start going on and then off, on and then off. And that happened a ton of times, but I never really took it as anything, you know what I mean? Until that shit happened. And it's just shit is unexplainable, dude. Like you cannot.
I mean, there's no denying that there's a lot of things that go on that you can't really explain, but I feel like a lot of things can be explained after time. Like, for instance, the reason we fall down, like, you throw something in the air and it falls down, the reason that happened, you know what I mean? They didn't know why. Aristotle originally said that things slow down because they got tired. And people believed that for like 1,200 years until Newton was like, no, that's gravity. So like people like that. It was like, oh, like this was a ghost, and then it's like, no, actually it was this. Now that we know, so you can
Yeah, no,
say, like, I feel like
100%,
everything.
100%. That is exactly what I was going to touch on next. If this is not connected to religion, if this is not connected to spirits, if this is not connected to, this is an intelligence that is living on a different plane of existence. Like, this is like, you know, we're three-dimensional beings. This is something else. This is a different dimensional being able to interact with like energies and shit like that. Like, that's the only other explanation that I could come up with for it, and I think that it's extremely plausible.
Maybe you're right. Maybe I should be more open-minded.
What's that?
I said maybe I should be more open-minded. So did you?
Dude, I 100% do blame you for being hesitant to believe me, or I've told this story to hundreds of people, and some.
No, I mean
believe me, some of
I
them
believe
don't.
that it happened. Like I believe that you saw those things. That I believe you.
Yeah.
But I don't know if
Um.
ghost is the only explanation. You know what I mean?
Right.
There
Right.
could be
Right.
like
Right. Yeah.
it could be time traveling elves. You know what I mean? Like it could be a million billion things. Like,
Well, that's what
but
I'm
people
saying.
just say
That's
it's
what I.
ghost. Is it
Yeah.
something unexplainable?
That's what I meant by an other dimensional intelligence. Like,
Right. That's like UFOs. Like I don't believe that UFOs have visited our planet only because I think it might be like government government technology or something,
what?
or time travelers, like the UFOs that people see in the sky.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I think it might be like, if
Human
anything,
technology?
like government
Like human
technology.
technology?
Yeah, human technology. It's all human technology, I think.
Well, alright. Let me put this to you. What do you think the next level of intelligence is?
The next level of intelligence is, we just turn into like a gas. I don't know. There's no reason to do anything, like,
No, I mean like like store of information, like
Yeah,
how are humans going to advance?
we're gonna turn into robots. We're gonna make ourselves cybernetic so that we live forever.
Well, yeah, you just nailed it. You nailed exactly. The only plausible, like,
Wouldn't that be
door of
crazy if you lived
intelligence.
forever? Like, man, and you missed out on that.
Dude.
You know what I mean? Like you died before we had the technology. Like, damn it. Now it's like you just
Right,
take a
right.
pill. You know what I mean? You live forever. It's like, oh damn, like you died like the year before it came out, or like the day before it came out.
The day before, right?
Oh,
Like 10
man.
minutes before it's
Mhm.
available.
You're like going to take it and you have a heart attack.
Yeah, man.
Man, so have you had like any personal struggles with you
What?
haven't had like you haven't had addiction problems, have you?
Oh no, I do. 100%. 100%. I
Yeah. I
I'm
mean,
probably one of the biggest.
biggest what?
I'm more than likely the biggest addict that you know, just secretly, and I'm extremely intelligent. So you know what I mean. I know how to mask it, I guess.
What?
I'm an addict. I'm a drug addict. I'm a very bad drug addict.
Addicted to what?
What?
What are you addicted to?
Uh,
I'm addicted to marijuana
man, it could be anything.
and
A
crack
lot of it's Xanax.
and Xanax.
But not really like addicted to that. I just do it every so often, and then I drink every day. I I smoke my biggest addiction is marijuana.
Yeah. Well, that's I don't know. You gotta like change your mindset a little bit. Like, there's a difference. Like, as long as you're like pills and Xanax, that's just like you're turning your body off. Like, that's like fucking just like stupid.
I
You just
know, and I
black
always
out. It's just like,
thought,
oh, let me just erase a couple moments. That sounds like fun. Like,
yeah.
what? No.
No, I know.
But like, you know, like marijuana, like you smoke that, it makes you feel happy, and then you can go do shit while you're high. You know, that's not an addiction. That's just like a vitamin. You just gotta change the way you think about it. And then alcohol, that's just a tasty beverage, as long as you're not getting shit faced. Like, I think liquor, when people start drinking like hard liquor, like a lot,
yeah.
like you're doing shots, you're drinking a whole bottle of vodka or something like that. Like, I don't drink any liquor. I only drink beer. Not saying that that's the best way. I mean, sure, you could drink some liquor, but like if you're drinking, it's just so easy to get fucked up off that. You can spend $5 and get a bottle of liquor. Then you're like, you know, that's like hitting the bottom of the barrel right there. I feel like I've known people that have been in that situation, and it's bad. That's when it gets bad. You still there, bro?
Hello?
Yeah. Yeah, I just didn't hear you talking at all, so.
Hello? 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 Hello?
I hear you now. I hear you now. All right, so what do you think what you need to do to move forward, and be like a better person? Like, if you had to think about it.
I think every day I become a better person. Honestly, I do. I do become a better person every day.
Why? What do you do? What's your practices to do that?
My practices to do that is basically just reflecting.
Seeing how you can improve, be a better person. Yeah, I think that's important. Trying to be a better person every day than you were yesterday.
Yeah, self-reflecting is 100% just the way that I become better every day.
Yeah,
And,
I mean, like, you know, treat people how you want them to treat you. You know? If we all did that, if we were all just kind to each other, man, this world would be so much better. You know,
Yeah,
and if you hate your life, I get it, but, you know, that doesn't give you an excuse to make other people miserable, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
So, all right, man.
No, it's true, but you walk outside and you're faced with people who are like that, who are very, aggressive, hateful, hate-spreading, racist, bigoted. You know what I mean? There are those people out there. You're going to encounter them.
I don't know.
And
I feel like most people you
it
talk
just
to
depends.
in person are nice. It's just you catch people at the wrong time. We all sound like asshole, bigoted racists that, you know, if you catch somebody at the wrong time, you know, like you catch me, you like cut me off in traffic, I might flip you off and you'd be like, man, everybody's an asshole. And you're like, no, well, actually, he's a nice guy. He just got pissed off because he was just got in a fight with somebody right before you cut him off, and he just couldn't take it anymore. So he said, "Fuck you."
Mm-hmm.
You know.
Yeah,
So
no, it's 100% like influenced. Yeah, like
right.
I agree with that completely. Like everybody has an in-ground set of morals, unless you're a psychopath or sociopath. And even sociopaths have morals, but they find pleasure out of being a sociopath. But it's just the social, societal, like the way that everything's set up and the environment that they're in at the time, what's going on, who's watching, how is this going to influence my future, can this upgrade me tomorrow from where I am today.
Right.
If you get in a fight with someone, let's say, you make your friend laugh, and he is very popular with a bunch of people. You make him laugh, you make him think that you're funny at the expense of somebody else's happiness. You know, they're somebody else's self-love. Then you actually took a step up on the social ladder. So there was a big reason for you to do that. And yeah, you feel bad, but that's just what you had to do to continue. You know what I mean? But it's
Absolutely.
like everybody's feeling that all the time. So there's always going to be somebody in that situation. There's always going to be somebody that chooses to act out. And I believe that I give everybody the benefit of the doubt. I give them their first chance. You have a clean slate with me as soon as you meet me. But I do make judgments as soon as I meet you. As soon as you start talking.
Well, that's kind of in your nature, you know? You have to. It's like for survival, you know? If you think about it, when you meet somebody new, like, you know, we were hunter-gatherers, you had to figure out whether this guy was going to fuck you up or, you know?
Kill you and take your shit.
Yeah, so it's just in your nature to judge. Like, it's just like, it's just how you view people. Like, you need to, like, learn how to view someone and not, like, judge a book by its cover, you know?
Yeah.
Don't necessarily assume that everyone's the same, you know?
Yeah, no, 100%. I don't. I literally, I live in Rochester, New York. There are some people who grew up in extreme poverty who, like, I would call better people than people who grew up in Pittsford, which is a town around me that is the lower end of the average salary is around $100,000. Everybody is rich out here.
So we got about like just a couple minutes left. You don't write music anymore. You used to write rap, right?
Yeah,
Like hip hop.
I mean, I just make music because my brother going to prison and everything, and I just been that's a big part of what my recent addiction has been, and shit like that, and you know, it's hard. It's really hard. So I feel like sometimes putting my feelings down on a track is soothing, very, very soothing. I make so.
Do you want me to do it? Can you hear that?
No, I can't.
What time do you want me to play from until?
Like 53 seconds.
RSK, let it play, boy.
What's it like to fight? But tonight my heart to you cut through me like a knife. Now I'm on my own shit till the end of the night. Shawty, she be focused, she be eyeing down the pipe. When she give it up, I'll make sure I hit it right. But I can't love her, only fucking up her life. I live in the city where we killin' every night. Life, it isn't pretty, hope you understand what's right. When I wake up, I feel the pain behind the walls. I get it, yes, it's tough, but we can break out of the jaws. What's it like to feel responsible? Can you please respond, bitch? I've been on my own, I've been keeping it 1,000.
All right, man, that was dope.
Yeah, so
Yeah, I like that. All right, but we gotta wrap this up.
Yeah, we do. I want to talk really quickly about what was going on, and like I already told everybody that this was because of, I was feeling a lot of pain. The what's it like to feel responsible part is like I wake up every day and I feel like I don't feel responsible. I don't feel like I have what it takes to be a part of society right now. What's it like to feel responsible? Can you please respond, bitch? I was like, a lot of my pain stems from a female, and a lot of my pain I felt like while I was going through it could have been ended immediately by that female. Why couldn't you help me out, bitch? Why couldn't you respond, bitch?
RSK, let it play, boy.
What's it like to feel responsible? Can you please respond, bitch? I've been on my own, I've been keeping it 1,000. I ain't going home without a story. Can you watch me? If I didn't make it, baby, would you go and drop me? Now I feel responsible, you couldn't respond, bitch. Always trying to fake it, girl, you always been a blonde, bitch. Go on ahead and take it, girl, you always get it right. When I gave my heart to you, cut through me like a knife. Now I'm on my own shit till the end of the night. Shawty, she be focused, she be eyeing down the pipe. When she give it up, I'll make sure I hit it right. But I can't love her, only fucking up her life. I live in the city where we killin' every night. Life, it isn't pretty, hope you understand it's right. When I wake up, I feel the pain behind the walls. I get it, yes, it's tough, but we can break out of the jaws. What's it like to feel responsible? Can you please respond, bitch? I've been on my own, I've been keeping it 1,000. I ain't going home without a story. Can you watch me? If I didn't make it, baby, would you go and drop me? Now I feel responsible, you couldn't respond, bitch. Always trying to fake it, girl, you always been a blonde, bitch. Go on ahead and take it, girl, you always get it right. When I gave my heart to you, cut through me like a knife.
Cutting through me like a knife, so I'm doing all these drugs, trying to save my fucking night. But at the end of the day, I might just take my life. Bitches tell me I ain't shit, so when my ass wake up, I jab a needle to my wrist. People done and shot at me, and they fucking missed. So why am I standing here dealing with this shit? Cause I can go and get this money with my fucking click.
What's
Hey.
it like to feel responsible? Can you please respond, bitch? I've been on my own, I've been keeping it 1,000. I ain't going home without a story. Can you watch me? If I didn't make it, baby, would you go and drop me? Now I feel responsible, you couldn't respond, bitch. Always trying to fake it, girl, you always was a blonde, bitch. Go on ahead and take it, girl, you always get it right. When I gave my heart to you, cut through me like a knife.
Hey guys, if you made it this far, I'm surprised, but thank you very much for listening. Join us on Facebook/Our Story. Like us there. You can find out how to support us there through PayPal. Every dollar helps. Every subscription helps keep the bills in check around here. Also, go to ourstory.buzzsprout.com. It has the archive of all of our podcasts and our links to social media. We appreciate it. Share us, like us on Facebook and YouTube. And we hope to see you motherfuckers around soon. Peace.